Thank you for tuning in to 7 Mobile Minutes, brought to you by 7 Media Group. Now, here are your hosts, Ron Carricker and Dave Morris.
Welcome to another edition of 7 Mobile Minutes. I'm Dave Morris alongside Ron Carricker as always, and this dapper dude is Alan Carter with Constellation Brands, who represents brands you will definitely know, such as Corona, Modelo. What are we doing in Mexico, Alan?
We're celebrating the summer incentive, and we've brought 24 guys to come down here, golf, fish, and really just take in the culture.
Ron, we travel a lot. We've already done this episode from Chicago. We've shown B-roll from Munich. We're here in Mexico. What were some of the things that you noticed when you were traveling here from a mobile standpoint that you prepared your phone just for this trip?
Yeah, one of the first things, I mentioned this, a week before I came, just coincidentally, I get an email from Verizon that there's some new travel share option that you can do. So $2 a day, everything I have in America carries over in Mexico. They send me a text every day to let me know that my package is renewed. So basically, it's incredible that in this day and age now, you get connectivity no matter where you're at, as opposed to just a few years ago where, like I said, you're paying $50 a day for a few extra messages and you might get cell signal. But, we were out fishing a couple days ago and we were out in the middle of the Pacific, and here we are. I got my phone, I'm texting, we're sending, pictures to each other. So it's definitely different. I'm sure, Alan, like you've been down here many times, so it's a lot different than it used to be.
Absolutely. We used to, 8 years ago, we would put in their packet to where they needed to sign up for certain plans, and the plans would be anywhere from $30, and they might have 20 text messages they could share, and just very, very limited downloads. And I promise you, in the first 10 minutes that we were out on different boats, we had exceeded those limits. So it's come a long way.
Mostly because this guy's bragging about the fish his boat pulled in.
Oh, yeah.
But now, Alan, we're here at the lovely Casa Magna Marriott in Puerto Vallarta. You were looking at some other places. One of the packages they showed you right off the bat was their Wi-Fi, their internet.
I think it's so important now for all us to be connected. I mean, we still fill out the agendas and everything else, but everybody wants the instant access, not just to see the time, but to see where their friends are, who's at the pool, who's at the lobby bar. Probably most of it has to do is where their next beer is. But the connectivity is something that we all demand now, and beyond having the agenda in your room, you want to be able to look up that, or you want to be able to send your wife at home or your friends at home the picture of what Ron's boat caught. So it has changed so much, but literally it's such a treat to come in and have the access. And the one that specifically you said that they had added 150 units that would take up to 50, whether it's iPads, phones, or everything else. But they thought that was their number one sales tool. So now you understand. I mean that they understand how large this opportunity is.
People want to get away, yet they still want to be connected. In fact, that goes right into the Ready to the Ride app. In fact, we'll talk to Alan about that because he's obviously a biker, but comes to Mexico as well. And this is just a great way to document and stay in touch.
Yeah, well, Alan's was our initial featured star that we had on camera when we did our first commercial and stuff that we did for Ready to Ride. And we're about to launch it, to get it off the ground completely. But, as most people know already, that it's a motorcycle rider app. Alan's familiar with it. We've shown him everything about it, when he did the commercial for us and everything. But it's one of the things that you're traveling. I mean, when you're riding a bike, you're not just driving it to work every day, obviously. These guys get on their bikes and they ride long distances in a lot of cases. And really the only thing you're going to have is your phone. When you're gone, you're not carrying a laptop with you. You don't have a computer. You get to a hotel, you don't typically use their service, so you have your phone with you. So the app itself obviously is designed for that person that travels. Now, Alan, you've ridden your bike down to Mexico a few times, so I'm really curious to what your take would be on having an app that can interact with the people you're riding with, what the app can do that you've seen features for it that could benefit what you've done.
Oh, I mean, there's I could go on with the list, but the one most important part is you're going to know where everybody else in your party is. And so, you have flat tires. You have to stop for gas at different times because, people are use a little bit, use different levels of gas. So, just the opportunity to know where that person is, or they might be looking for me and I might be at the bar drinking a beer. So, but it gives you access to find exactly where your person is, and hopefully it is at the bar drinking a beer and not with a flat tire.
Well, and like we've been talking, the connectivity part, being out in the ocean with phone service, obviously with AT&T buying, I think it was Telcel, the biggest cellular company in Mexico. Obviously, there's a big emphasis placed on increasing the connectivity, making it more available to people in more remote areas. So now having an app is not unreasonable to think that you're going to have service wherever you're at, because it is so good now in this part of the country, at least, on the coastal areas and things. So it would be very handy, I think. I think riders would be very welcoming and having something where they can connect with each other and not rely on maybe Facebook or some other apps that might be social media related. So I think that's still a huge thing with, again, the way the hotels are going, all the stuff we've talked about already with the connectivity.
Yeah, it's ready to use. I mean, the ready to ride is ready to use, and it's ideal for that whole ride. And or in town. I mean, we talked about those options in town. I think it applies more so down here. And up there, it's going to give you the opportunity to get your motorcycle, whether you need the oil change or maybe you're making sure the tires are good to make that trip. So there's so many features on it. But talking about Mexico as we're in front of the Pacific Ocean, every part of that application is perfect for that trip.
All right, Alan, thanks for your time today. Thanks for letting us crash your lovely cabana here.
Well, I do what I can.
That'll do it from Mexico. For Ron Carriker, I'm Dave Morris. That's another edition of 7 Mobile Minutes. We'll be back next week.